The MVC Starter Kit offered by Izenda is a useful way for developers to observe an example of how Izenda integrates into a live application firsthand. The kit utilizes Microsoft's out-of-the-box MVC5 application example code. With the MVC5 Starter Kit downloaded, a user can take the infrastructure required to have Izenda as a part of the whole offering and then mesh the embedded UI within the provided MVC application. Much of the heavy lifting from a code perspective has already been handled within this kit and will enable easy exploration into some of the concepts around integrating codebases. This video will be an initial walkthrough of how to get the MVC5 Starter Kit set up, connected to a configuration database, and then prepared for reporting purposes. To begin the process, the user needs to download the latest version of the Izenda API and embedded UI from the Izenda download site. Additionally, the user will need to download the MVC5 Starter Kit from the Izenda GitHub site. Also, for the purposes of this installation, we'll need an instance of SQL Server Management Studio to create a new database. Unzip the MVC5 Starter Kit into an easy-to-access directory where the user is going to host the platform. Then, unzip the compressed embedded UI and API directories into an equally easy-to-access location. To begin meshing the directories, we'll open the MVC5 Starter Kit project in Microsoft Visual Studio. Now, open the API directory in File Explorer. Then we'll take all the files and folders contained within the API bin directory into the MVC5 Starter Kit Izenda references directory. Once this is complete, we can then navigate back to the API home directory to begin moving files from here. Specifically, we will move the API content, API email templates, and API export templates into the MVC5 Starter Kit Izenda resources directory. As the previous step directed the user to move files and folders of a specific directory, this step requires the entire folder to be copied. Then, the user should move all of the contents of the embedded UI folder into the MVC5 Starter Kit scripts Izenda directory. Once this is completed, the results of the copy should be reviewed and match the structure being shown on screen. Next, we'll need to open SQL Server Management Studio. First, we'll need to create a new database that we can potentially run reports against. To do this, we will right-click on the Databases dropdown and select New Database. Name this new database Retail. Then, locate the Retail database script contained within the MVC5 Starter Kit directory in the SQL script folder. Once the user finds the retaildbscript.sql file, we will run that script on the newly created Retail database. After this script has been run, the application should be in a runnable state within Microsoft Visual Studio. With the project open, run the application to a desired browser. In this case, we will launch the application to Google Chrome. While there are a few minor issues that may cause the application to not run properly at this point, typically there's a simple fix to most. It is possible that the Izenda configuration database can be out of sync with the current version of the application. This can be checked through querying the Izenda config database and seeing what version number it is currently on. If the application is out of sync with the download version of the API, the user may need to run a series of update scripts to get up to the proper version. It is also a best practice to run the application through incognito mode on Chrome, or clear the browser cache prior to running to ensure the issue is not related to the cache. Using the default login credentials, log into the system as a system administrator. Once logged in, navigate to the Settings tab at the top of the screen. This is where a user will need to enter their license key and token to gain access to all the modules offered within the application. With this in place and full access to the application granted, the final step in the process is to load that retail database into the connection string tab of the data model tab. The connection string will need to be generated off specific data in relation to where the database is being stored, including server name, database name, user, and password information. Once this is generated, the user can build that connection string with the connection string builder or enter it manually into the text box. To verify the database connection is valid, the user can click the Test button. If given the green check mark, the Connect button can now be selected to connect to the database for reporting purposes. The MVC5 Starter Kit contains some other themed environments within it for different tenants. Logging into each one of these tenants can show some examples of white labeling and how the Izenda experience can be molded to fit specific use cases from tenant to tenant. Once the application is up and running, feel free to navigate through the code to discover how many of these concepts are handled and how they can be best implemented during your integration into your application. For additional details on the MVC5 Starter Kit, please consult the README contained within the kit or navigate to the wiki for a deeper dive into many of the concepts covered in this video. Additionally, for details on report creation, dashboards, and everything Izenda, please visit our documentation or watch additional videos for everything Izenda.